Hey y'all, this is Sherilyn. This is Just Goodness 333 Little Homestead. Welcome back for those of you who've been by before. To those of you who are new, welcome. Today we're going to be canning beef and beef stew. Come along. As you can tell, I've been grocery shopping. I went to the store this morning and I picked up some beef. The kind of beef that I picked up for this, you can use any beef, but this had the best price per pound. This was $3.99 a pound, and the other stuff that was any cheaper just didn't look good. This is actually stew beef, which is perfect. I did pick up 2 of these packages that are reduced for quick sale. They came in at $3.49 a pound, and this is the cheap eye round steak. But we're going to mix this with this, and the good fats and stuff in this is going to make that taste a whole lot better. I also got something else. I got a bunch of beef neck bones. I got the neck bones because I'm going to start some beef bone broth, but that's going to be on a separate video. Let's get started on this beef. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is start getting this meat all into a big bowl. This meat is cut in some decent chunks. I think this will be okay. If you're really concerned about having very small pieces, you can go ahead and cut them some more. But I'm just going to put all this meat in here, mix it all together, the eye round steak and the stew beef, and I'll bring you right back. Okay, some of this stew beef is in some pretty big chunks. I'm not comfortable with canning a piece that big. I'm going to go ahead and cut these in half. You're going to want to end up with something about this size, usually no bigger. And there it is in my hand for perspective. Okay, this is only half of the meat that I got. I'm going to go ahead and mix this up so I get that eye brown steak down in with the other stuff. Just want it varied. Today we're going to be canning in pint jars. Pint jars work best for me and my family because there's only 2 of us adults, myself and my oldest son. The little one won't eat this stuff. So we are only going to use a pint jar. Let me wash my hands and I'm going to show you what I do next. Okay, now I like to season this meat before I put it in the jars. You know how if you just cook a piece of meat and you don't season it first and you go back and season it later, it just doesn't get all the way in. And we're pressure canning, so what seasonings we put in here are going to go all the way up inside the meat and give it a really great taste. So I have here some organic garlic powder, and I really love this broth based seasoning. Now there are a few people who say that you shouldn't use this. I'm not really up to date on all the FDA safe canning regulations, but I just know that we've used this forever. I know a lot of other canners use it and nobody's ever had any problems. I think it has to do with any kind of anti-caking agent that may be in some of these. This is the Orington Farm beef broth. This is really good. It's gluten-free. It has sea salt in it. It's already flavored. And I think there's something in here that's an anti-caking agent, and that's just not an approved ingredient. But we're going to use so little of this, it's not going to matter. But you do what you feel safe to do. I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of this here on the meat. And I'm also going to put about a tablespoon of this garlic powder. And I got this organic garlic powder from Frontier Co-op. And I bought this beef broth at Walmart, but you can also order it online. And I'm just going to mix this up to get that seasoning. It's equivalent to putting a dry rub on meat before you cook it, you know? I just want to get the seasoning all the way down in there and on everything. Okay, so today I'm going to be using wide mouth pint-sized canning jars. You could use regular mouth jars, but to me this is just so much more convenient to get the meat in and out. Okay, I'm going to bring this up to this 1-inch headspace. If you watched our detailed canning video on potatoes, you'll know that as you come up the jar, this first ring is where your 1-inch mark is. I'm going to bring all these up to the 1-inch headspace and then I'll bring you back. This is called the raw pack method because you're putting it in raw, but you're also packing it down. You do want to press this down and make sure that you get, you know, a lot of the big air spaces out. Okay, I have a little bowl here with some vinegar in it, and I've dabbed a damp towel. I'm going to go around the edges of all of these jars. We're going to check for any cracks or any chips. Don't use those jars if you have any cracks or chips. The reason I'm using vinegar instead of water is because we're dealing with animal fats here, and just in case any of that got on our rim, we're going to just take the extra safety precaution to clean with vinegar that would cut that grease. I'm changing my towel around quite often, you know, so I get a clean spot. Alrighty then. I'm using new lids today. The new canning regulations, or the new lids, say that you do not have to heat them up. And honestly, I used to heat up lids, but once they changed the regulation, I just decided they make the lids, they know what they're doing. So I choose not to warm them up. If you feel more comfortable to bring them to a simmer and let them get nice and warm, then go right ahead. And a lot of you canners will know this, but just in case there's someone out there who doesn't, we're going to talk about how to tighten your lid. You tighten finger tight. Seriously, just use your fingers. This is not finger tight. That could cause you to have it on too tight, and the air will not be able to escape, and you could have some trapped air in your jars, and that could cause bacteria. Finger tight. Just with your fingers. Okay, I'm back. I've got 2 inches of cold water, cool tap water, in my canner. Some canners may vary. You need to read your instructions to see exactly how much water your canner suggests that you have in there. Some people measure by quarts. I've just always measured by 2 inches. It gives me exactly how much I need. And this is a mirror double stack canner. Okay, my canner takes 14 pints, so I'm going to put 7 on the bottom. And somehow I only ended up with 13 jars, so we'll do 6 on the top. I counted wrong. Okay, we put the plate in here. Set our second one on there. Let's get the lid on. I'm going to turn this on high. Okay, on this Miro canner, there is a little V right here, like an arrow. There's also a very faint one right here on this handle, so I know I need to line these 2 arrows up. And then slide it in place. We're going to leave this alone until we get a steady steam, a plume of steam coming out of here. Okay, now we have a steady plume of steam coming up. And I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes, and this is going to allow the canner to vent. Okay, this has been venting for 10 minutes. And I'm going to take my 10-pound weight. I'm in Florida. Our weight for our elevation is 10 pounds. I'm going to put the weight on there. then I'll bring you back. Now let's get over here and make some beef stew. Okay, now we're back to make the beef stew. We're going to be assembling that today in quart-sized jars. I'm doing this in quart-sized jars because I want to have ready-made meals for the family. So what we're going to do is just layer this up. I'm going to put the beef in the bottom. Let me bring this over here where you can see it. I'm going to put beef, onions, potatoes, and carrots in here. So there's our beef in the bottom, maybe another piece or two. See? About right there. About a third. So we need beef, carrots, and potatoes. We're going to put a few onions in here. And I did season this beef up just like I did for the beef that we were going to can. But I will be putting a half a teaspoon of salt in here because we have other things in here as well. Alright, I'm just going to do, let me see, a few onions. And break them up a little bit. These onions, I am still going through that 50-pound sack of onions. I'm going to do potato. Not quite 2/3. And finish it off with carrots. Okay, now this rocker is going real good. It's spitting out steam. I'm going to turn the temperature down to 7 on my stove. And we're going to set the timer for 75 minutes. And I actually didn't want that many carrots in here, so I'm just going to top off with potatoes. Okay, so I've got this up to about the 1-inch headspace. I am going to take half a teaspoon of salt and put it in here. I'm going to cover this with water to the 1-inch headspace. I have a rag soaked with vinegar because we did use a product that has some animal fats in it. Anything you use with fats in it, you're going to want to wipe your jars with vinegar in case any of that managed to get on the edge. Now we're going to debubble. I'm going to take this little plastic piece that I got in my canning kit. You can also use a wooden skewer. You can also use the thin edge of a wooden spoon, a plastic drinking straw, and you're going to want to go around all the edges. I'm going to go around all 4 edges, pushing this down to dislodge all of the bubbles. And I'm going to go once in the middle. We don't want air trapped in there because we're trying to create an oxygen-free environment. Let me actually do this now that I've debubbled. Any air pockets that get trapped in there could harbor some bacteria. And I'm using the regular mouth jars. I don't know if I said so before because it's what I have. It's going to be a little less convenient to get this out, but you can use whatever jars you have. And there we go. You could also put some herbs and spices. As a matter of fact, I might do that before I finish all of these. Put a little parsley, a little thyme. That sounds good. I think I'll do that to the rest of these jars. Okay, as often happens when you debubble, I'm debubbling this, and then if you can see this, the water has settled down to below the 1-inch headspace. So you're going to want to add some more water and bring it back up to the 1-inch headspace. I'm going to finish the rest of these. I did add parsley and thyme. There we have it. It's ready for the canner whenever the beef is done. Okay, our pressure valve has come down. It's safe to take the weight off. We're going to open this lid. My kitchen is such that it's hard to get a good angle. We're going to open this lid slowly. And then I am going to open this away from my face to let that steam escape. Okay? You definitely don't want to be opening that right in your face. And here we are. Canned beef. Okay, it's the next day and all the canning is done. It got finished up last night, and I just took it out of the canner. I set them all over here on the counter on towels, and let me let you look at that. There you go. There's the canned beef. We ended up with 15 jars, and we ended up with 7 quarts of beef stew. That is so yummy. I'm so excited about that. I'm going to try to find the receipt. I'm going to find out how much I paid for all of that, and I'm going to add it up, and then I'll be able to tell you guys about how much per jar this cost me, and I'll put it in somewhere down here. I want to thank you guys for stopping by the homestead. I want to know what you like to can. Are you a canner? Do you can? Do you want to can? What are your favorite recipes? What are things that you like to can for your family? Do you have any like instant meals, like your favorite meal in a jar recipe? Please comment below. Let's get a conversation started. Let's talk to each other. And everybody go down and read comments below. Let's see if we can come up with some new ideas. Listen, thanks for stopping by the homestead. I'm Sherilyn. So glad to have had you. Until next time. Bye, y'all.